And we're back. I'm sorry, that may have stricken horror in your very being, and I apologize. However, I can't help but draw similarities that the fact that you may be feeling horrified that we may be bringing you some horror-related content. That's right. It's not Halloween time yet. No, but we are
Halloween to talk about.
It is not Halloween time yet. It's getting pretty close to Halloween. It's not. But
not at all.
There is some horror-related things in pop culture happening right now. We'd like to tell you about it. So anyway, I am your millennial Nick. I am here on Convincing Idiots with my bro hosts, Zennial Dean and Gen X Brian. And this is something that is very near and dear to Gen X Brian's heart. He is a big, big fan of the Evil Dead franchise. And Brian, there's some exciting new Evil Dead content coming out, and perhaps I would like to personally...
Horror movies are close to his heart, and Gray Fur.
That's right.
That's right. Correct. Yeah. So, but I would like to know a little more. Like, give me a brief synopsis. Like, what's going on with this Evil Dead stuff? You're a big fan. Walk me through that.
Thank you. So, yeah, there's a new movie, The Evil Dead Rise. Or I think it's just called Evil Dead Rise. It opens up tonight. Actually,
the trailer looks really like cool. I mean, a lot of horror movie trailers look really cool and scary, and then you know what I mean. They give away a lot in the trailers, but that trailer looks really cool.
Yeah, it does look very good. So, Evil Dead Rise opens tonight. This is Thursday the 20th. There's a couple of showings of that, and it opens up more on a broader scale tomorrow, Friday the 21st. And I'm very looking forward to this. Like you say, it looks creepy. You know, the franchise began back in '81. Sam Raimi, who we're big fans of. Now, Sam Raimi, some would recognize him as he directed the last Doctor Strange movie. He's been involved
first Spider-Man.
This first two Spider-Man, well, three actually. The first three Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. And he's done a lot of these like
Dean loves those
strange horror type movies. Yeah, so but Evil Dead is really where he got his start here. So we'll talk more about it, I guess, a little bit. But I've always enjoyed the movies. Yeah, they're very good blend of horror and very, very dark humor. And then most of the Evil Dead movies, you throw in Bruce Campbell on top of that. It's the elements just equals a complete win for me, and funny and scary entertainment. So
nice,
yeah. So on that note, since that opens tomorrow, so one of our questions tonight, we thought we'd get into in our main topic is Evil Dead's obviously a long-running franchise, as are others. So we're not talking about individual movies or anything like that. We're just talking about what are some of your favorite horror franchises. So franchise would be if there's more than one movie that's in the same type of a series. Okay. So that's it. You want to do it? We don't need a certain number.
Who are you asking?
Well, we're not doing them out. Dean, we'll start with you. How about that? We'll start with you. Do you have any horror? I know you've just been getting into horror movies through your son.
Yes.
So do you have any franchises that you find entertaining? Go ahead.
Some of the horror movies that I've been getting into, I realize that I have seen, at least the first, few back when they started, as franchise go. I don't know what you need more than two, maybe three starts the word franchise. Would you assume?
I would say, more than one, right? Just
more than one, really.
Two. Yeah. If there's two,
okay,
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm making the rules. I don't even.
No, that's good.
I'm
going to start with this one actually. It has something to do with what we talked about earlier, Brian, with Fathom Events, because we went to see this in the theater just recently. The first one from
the Big Lebowski franchise.
No. The Poltergeist from 1982. Okay. There were three of them, and then going up to 1988 with Poltergeist 3.
Jeez, I don't remember watching that. I probably did, but I don't even remember.
That one had Craig T. Nelson as her uncle. or no, I'm sorry, not Craig T. Nelson was her
He
father.
was the father. Yeah.
So in the third one, they couldn't handle Carol Ann anymore, so they sent her to live with Tom Skerritt, her uncle, in this high-rise New York
His
City
last name
building.
is Garrett.
Tom Skerritt, yeah. You know who Tom Skerritt is?
No. Oh, I thought that was a made-up name, like Skerritt.
No, he's a popular actor from that era. Yeah.
No, he was in Top
Okay.
Gun.
Okay.
All right. Anyways,
I believe you. I just don't know the name.
But mustache.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
mustache.
everybody in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah, he's above average. Yeah.
Okay. Tom Selleck level?
Yeah,
Well,
it's up there.
But I mean, Tom Skerritt
Anyways.
was a very handsome man
Matthews level.
in the 80s. Google it. You'll enjoy it.
You saw him, yeah.
So yeah, the Poltergeist movies, we did go and see it just recently, the first one, and it doesn't hold up exactly, but as horror movies go, for the time, it was scary, it was innovative, it was on another level.
It was.
I'm not comparing it to how we saw it now, but the three movies together were very frightening. It showed a whole new different level of horror movie. It showed the at-home horror, real life, you know what I mean? Horror.
Yeah.
From like ghosts to like the dead people being dug up to the pool or whatnot. So yeah, that's going to be first on my list is Poltergeist from 1982 to 1988. 3 movies.
Yeah, very good. Yes. Yeah, as a kid, that definitely has a place. You know, like you said, watching it as an adult, but taking you back and watching it through the eyes of your younger self was just a different level.
And that's what I'm comparing it to.
Yeah,
that's my criteria is how I watched it originally.
Sure. Yeah, for me as a kid, that was one of the scariest things I saw on the big screen in my childhood life was that first Poltergeist. You know. Very scary at the time. But anyway, Nick, do you have any that I know you're not as necessarily into the horror scene as much as we might be, but do you have any franchises that you find even remotely entertaining? Go ahead.
Yeah, same deal. Like you just said, I'm not a big horror movie guy. I've never really I've not seen a lot of the classic ones. But the one that there's at least 2 movies of it that I think to this day is one of the scariest movies is The Exorcist. So there is, more than one of them. I would have to put that one up there just because kind of playing off of what you were talking about, Dean, with the Poltergeist, and Brian, you said kind of that at home, like hits you at home feeling kind of in the realm of possibility or, whatever. It was, The Exorcist is definitely creepy to think that someone being possessed and, like I said, that movie, I mean, to this day still holds up. The original is a really freaky movie to watch. So I'm going to submit The Exorcist because I just think that's a really great movie and it's a great franchise. And so, yeah, The Exorcist.
Yeah, I've said this before. It's made my list on all these. Every time we talk about horror movies, it's always on my list. That movies to this day still makes me uneasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this year there was a sequel coming out to The Exorcist in October.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
No, that's a different one. That's the Pope's Exorcism or something like that. That's out now. Nope, not the same one.
Oh, okay.
No, this is a sequel to the original Exorcist. Will be coming out. I think it's October. Pretty sure.
Wow. Okay.
So I think some of the original cast members, are
Linda Blair
in this one. I don't know that she's in it. I think her mom. There's definitely some people that's in. Right. I don't remember.
Belinda Blair.
But definitely want to see that sequel.
Belinda Blair.
No, just Linda Blair.
Her mom. No, her mom. Belinda Blair.
My mistake.
Get with it. You don't even like horror movies.
I know. I apologize. Now, does in that franchise, do they consider the canon, franchise repossessed? Is that part of it?
No.
Oh, okay.
The original, I've been repoed by the devil.
The original Exorcist that had three movies were in the original Exorcist storyline.
Did you guys ever see Repossessed?
A long time ago. Leslie Nielsen with Linda Blair, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And it was kind of
the makeup and
it was kind of a sequel. In the way they played it, it was a sequel. She played the character.
Yeah,
from
played herself
The
in the movie.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep. A bizarre, strange. I haven't
that
seen
was
that
fun.
movie in many years. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that does not necessarily qualify. The first
All right.
three were.
Fair
The
enough.
second one was weird. The third one was actually very, very interesting. The original Exorcist storyline. If you've not watched the third one, check that out because it's the priest that performed the exorcism. Obviously, in the first movie, he clearly died, but of course,
Right.
in this, he somehow lived, and he's still possessed by the devil, and people they lock him in an asylum. It's a whole thing. So it's a very interesting storyline. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll continue to elaborate. I'll just finish my thoughts. So the Evil Dead franchise is clearly one of my favorites. So, first one began in 1981.
Boo!
The first one is more of a scary movie. Now, the first one is more straight horror. There's some sort of dark humor moments, but then Sam Raimi and the second one sort of changed the tone a little bit. And the second movie is basically a remake of the first movie, but done differently. It's not really a continuation. And then he gets into one of my favorite movies of all time, just a strange, campy movie. I'm wearing the shirt now, you can't really see, but the Army of Darkness, which Bruce Campbell from that universe, the Evil Dead universe, gets transported back in time to knights and castle and that type of stuff. It's so crazy, over the top, bizarre, funny. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's just so great. They had a very interesting reboot. They had there was an Ash versus the Evil Dead series that was on Stars, which you can still find, I believe, on Netflix now. They had a couple seasons of that. Just awesome. The whole premise of this thing is basically there's a Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, and if you read passages from it, the concept's very simple. If you read passages from it, you release evil and demons into our realm. They possess people and they become deadites. So when you see in the new Evil Dead Rise movie, the lady that's creepy and all that, she's been possessed by these demons. So she's become a deadite, and it's just chaos and everything. And so that's a very simple premise. That's all you need.
All right.
The book, idiots find the book. Inevitably, they read passages from the book. They can't help themselves, and releases evil unto the world. You could do the same thing. You take the book, you put the book in different settings, different movies, whatever it is. As long as some idiot reads passages from the book,
Fucking idiots.
You're going to have the deadites, and things happen. So, but those original couple of movies with Bruce Campbell at the top, and even the series, Bruce Campbell's at the top of his game. I love him in those movies, and it's just a lot of campy, ridiculous fun. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the new movie this weekend. So, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
Yes.
All right.
Dean, you have another?
The next one I have, I don't know if you guys consider this a horror movie, or do you consider it an action movie? Predator?
Yeah, you could say that.
Good one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Predator from 1987 was the original.
It's horror elements for sure.
And then leading up to even
Prey.
The Prey, which was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
There was 6 of them altogether, including Predator versus Alien.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're talking about monsters, a scary monster movie type horror, I mean, the first time that dude takes off his mask and gets in Arnold Schwarzenegger's face as a kid, that's, that leaves an impact.
That's one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a horror element there because it really puts you under a lot of stress in you can't see this thing coming.
Yeah. And then even the kill shots throughout the movie, like when he blew out Jesse Ventura and all his guts were all on the outside and shit.
Yeah,
sure.
Had that one dude skinned, hanging in the tree and shit, and
exactly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Predator is next on my list.
Absolutely. Yeah, science fiction horror, absolutely. Nick?
Yeah. I don't mean to keep kind of pick, but it's a segue perfectly into what I was going to say. So if yours qualifies, my next question was going to be, does Alien qualify as a horror movie?
Absolutely.
And I would say premise alone, Alien, in fact, would qualify for me. Obviously, there's multiple movies, and also one of the things that I really like about Alien is like the originality of like the design of the alien. It's a very different kind of take on what an alien would look like. I just think it's very original. It's very creative, and definitely like really, at certain points in those movies, very eerie, very horrifying franchise. So like I've always loved those movies. The Alien movies are fantastic. So I would say Alien.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely took the concept to another level back in its time, where obviously it got on the ship, and it was something to where it wasn't a big alien creature they were fighting, some huge monster or something like that. That was an alien stalking them on their own ship. So that was at a whole other level of terror and everything else. Obviously the whole scene when it was born, that was one of the most shocking scenes in movie history, in my opinion, anyway, when that thing burst out of the guy's stomach. It was something else.
The premise really is let's do a horror movie in space.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which really, when you break it down, like when you're out there and you're in the land of the unknown, which is space, and there's a lot of creepy shit. I mean, as humans, we think of going to space to observe, to learn things and whatever. It's an educational journey, right? I think in a lot of ways, but there is that kind of greater unknown that's out there that's very frightening. And if you can pivot that in a horror movie franchise and turn it into something like that, it's fantastic. I love it. The way that Dean is with time travel, like the way you always like gush over time travel, and you really like, that's the way I am with like outer space shit. Like I love it. Like it's just, I love different theories and different takes on it, and just the idea of the complete unknown. Like I love it. You know what I mean? So
probably the only thing I respect about you, actually.
Well, got to start somewhere. Yeah, cheers.
Okay, my next one is one of my favorite horror characters of all time. I think we had a list of this previously as well. I know he was on my list there too. Nightmare on Elm Street, starring Freddy Krueger.
Absolutely,
just great. The great Robert Englund. The whole concept was very fascinating and unique. Obviously, he comes after you in your dreams. And
now, what do you consider in this franchise? Do you stop it like in 1994 with the New Nightmare? Or do you do the two rebooted ones? What are you considering in this franchise? Just out of curiosity.
No, it's okay. It's the ones with Robert Englund that takes you through this. So the Wes Craven, that's the franchise for me. The whole reboot was awful, horrible, terrible. I know we talked about that on prior episodes too. One of the worst remakes of all time.
Recently. It's awful.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all. So yeah, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. It's a mistake to have anybody else try to portray that character. Like I said, the whole concept was terrifying, and coming after you in your sleep, because you can't escape it. Eventually, you will fall asleep. That's what you can do. You're going to fall asleep, and when you do, that's when he can come after you. Terrifying. That first movie, even now, holds up, I think, very well, effects-wise and everything, all the way back in 1984. Yeah, still a lot of fun and terrifying to watch to this day.
Did Don Dokken write Dream Warriors about that movie franchise?
That was the theme of Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Was
That's
it?
The end, yes, that is the end credit
Okay, that
theme.
makes so much sense. I always love that song, but I was like, as I'm thinking about like what Nightmare on Elm Street is and that song, I'm like,
Dream Warriors is the name of the movie. That's the name of the song.
Is it? Okay.
Do yourself a favor, Nick. When I have a little bit of fun, look up the YouTube video. It is Dokken, literally with Robert Englund on the set. It's Dokken with Freddy Krueger. Say no more. That's it.
Fantastic.
That is 80s right there.
It's like the theme song
80s
of
video.
that. Is that what it was written for that?
Yep, written for the movie.
Fantastic.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street came from Wes Craven reading an article about these. I can't remember what country. They were immigrants. They'd come over here, and there was like a village of them or a city of their whatever you want to call it, of them dying in their sleep, and that was the rumor or mythical thing that they were saying was that they were being killed in their sleep. But there was a lot of these people from this country that were dying in their sleep, and that's kind of where he got the concept. And then Freddy Krueger was the name is I believe it was a bully of Wes Craven's.
This sounds familiar.
When he was in school.
Yeah.
So little Dean fact.
Yeah,
Dean
very good. Very good.
Dean facts.
Yeah. Great franchise. Dean, do you have another one?
Facted by Dean.
No, I give you 2 facts an episode. You got 2. Sorry. Oh, you mean
get facted by Dean right now. There you
I'll
go.
fact you. I'm going to actually stick with Wes Craven and go with the Scream franchise.
Very good. Yes, excellent.
1996 all the way to the most recent one that I saw in the theater, Scream. What was it? 6 in 2023. I have not seen all of them. I saw the first couple, and I saw this last one, and they're all very similar, but they are very clever. If you're going to it for like the horror movie kills, they're fun, they're interesting. But you know, they're all kind of similar vein of whodunit type deal, but there is scary elements to it. The last one was reaching, I think, but altogether, I enjoy. The first one was, again, off the page, different than anything else, you know, especially at the time. So Scream is my franchise, next on my list.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of these rare ones where you don't know who the killer is.
Yeah, it's like a horror movie and who done it.
Yeah, very unique.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. Like I just watched the first one, I think this last summer, because I'd seen there was one that was put out. What would you say? 6 just came out.
Yeah.
So it must have been 5 that I had seen probably sometime around 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around
they
there.
All definitely intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
Like they don't really go a completely new story.
Yeah. The one I had seen was one that like people were basically watching the old Scream movies or were kind of they were kind of trying to emulate the Scream killer or whatever, Ghostface. And so that was the first one I'd ever actually seen. I obviously knew of the franchise, but I'd never seen the movies. I actually just saw Scream 1 like this last summer. And it was fun, you know what I mean, for what it was. It was like
very 90s.
Definitely like very fun slasher movie, kind of over the top, but also a lot of, like you said, just kind of you spend the majority of the movie not knowing what the fuck's going on. It's kind of fun, and it's, you know, a little bit campy at times, but it's supposed to be. So, yeah, I like what I've seen of the Scream movie so far.
For the first one, it was very innovative for them to to be very self-aware, to be tongue-in-cheek with itself. You go, you know, 6 movies and 20-some years later, and they're still literally doing that same verbiage. It gets a little corny, but in the beginning that was very cool, because no horror movie called itself out like it did, and it worked.
Very good. Excellent. I'll give you another. Go ahead, Nick.
No,
go ahead, Nick.
Okay, I've got another one. My favorite of all of them, which I don't, like I said, not big into horror movies, but my favorite franchise, if I had to pick one, would be based off of my favorite movie, which is Pumpkinhead. I say that saying that
look at that little pumpkin head.
Only the first 2 are really worth watching. I've seen the first 4. A lot of them have gone like straight to like, you know, DVD kind of shit. But the first 2 were really good. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, if someone has wronged you, there's this old witch in the woods, and you go and see her, and she summons up this corpse of a demon, which is Pumpkinhead, and once you're marked and you've done someone wrong, it won't stop until it has killed you, and that's basically it runs its
It's
course,
efficient.
and whatever. So the first one came out in 1988, which is so happens to be the year I was born, and I love the first one. I watch it every year on Halloween, which I'm sure I've mentioned on this show before.
Mhm.
But the second one, Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings, I actually really enjoyed a lot. It kind of ties in some different elements. There's this kind of disfigured kid who's getting picked on, and he ends up getting basically lynched by these like jocks at school, and that whole thing has a tie-in. And that one probably creeped me out way more just because of the brutal murder scene at the beginning of the movie. But yeah, that series in general, I'm gonna qualify it because it's my favorite horror movie, and it is technically a franchise because there's 2 or more. There's like 6 probably, but like only 1 and 2 really deserve your time and attention. But
Sure.
Pumpkinhead would be my favorite one.
Excellent.
Brian?
Very
Yes.
good. I'm going to give you the George Romero Living Dead franchise. So,
yeah.
the original, of course, Night of the Living Dead, which really was the catalyst of all the zombie craze, all the zombie movies. That first movie is still pretty classic to this day, and from like 68 or something like that, late 60s. And he had various movies. He did a reboot of that movie. There's different Living Dead movies under George Romero. It's the classic zombies, the slow-moving zombies after you, brains. Only way to kill them is shoot them in it. So he set up all the classic zombie rules,
Tropes,
if you will, in the movies there. So absolutely, including again, some of the worst characters in those movies are other people trying to find a way to survive, and that theme certainly carried over into other series like The Walking Dead and everything else. But George Romero definitely set the tone. If you're a zombie movie fan, you definitely watch George Romero. He really is, absolutely is genius in many respects. So
I remember I was in high school, which was in the 90s, and I watched Night of the Living Dead for the first time. We rented it, and I actually had to look it up and double check because I thought I got some sort of remake. That's how good, like, Jordan. I mean, take away the story or the zombies, like just visually how crisp that movie looked. It holds up because, like, you think that it's easily just they've filmed today's movie and just made it black and white.
Yes.
Like, he's such a good filmmaker that it really fucks with you. Like, there's not 1 ounce of like graininess to it. It's very crisp looking.
Yep.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Terrifying. Yep.
All right. I've got one more. My last one. Again, I'm going to go back to what I've seen in the last couple of years, but it started in 1978 with Halloween.
There you go.
And we've gone 13 of these bastards.
What?
Yeah, 13 altogether.
Because you count the reboots and everything else, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It ends with Halloween Ends in 2022, which we all saw it. Not their best showing. Not the best way to end it. It was strange, but Michael Myers as a horror movie character is one of the best.
Yeah.
The slow walking, can't kill him, disappearing, and even where they did his point of view, the Michael Myers eye holes from the mask point of view, was pretty scary in itself. Very simple, very simplistic, mask and jumpsuit, but it was terrifying, especially back in 78. So.
Yeah, that first one still holds up big time. It got a little, as you mentioned, a little corny and things over the movies there, but yeah.
I would say if nobody mentioned it, I was going to say something like, I mean, I'm not even a big fan, but like of the big, I would call them the big three: Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers. I'm like, that's the one that I've
Absolutely.
seen the most of, and that I've, certainly seen different remakes and different versions of the movies and things like that. But like, those are ones that I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I never really got like super into them. Was like a big fan, but I've certainly seen a lot. I know the story, and like I mean, it's definitely something to pay homage to for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, it's that movie also the last one. Gave me the idea of how my future funeral will happen moment by moment.
Yes.
Michael Myers. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's how I'll be in charge.
My final wish.
Yep.
That talking to my daughter, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So if you've not seen that movie, check it out to understand what we're talking about. And if you have seen it, you know that how cool of a funeral that
right.
will be. Yes.
Oy vey.
We got to do the big three. So you got to see Friday the 13th with Jason.
Absolutely.
Certainly, as we all know, the first movie is Jason is spoiler alert. The first movie is not Jason as the killer; it's actually his mother, which was an interesting twist. That was a whodunit. So that first movie, Jason wasn't even it was just a minor mention, in the movie.
Sure,
and obviously
he's the reasoning.
He's the reasoning, right? And then as a grown man, he became the killer in part 2, and then they kind of got crazy and ridiculous from there with more of the formulaic, Jason.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you didn't know what?
That the mother was the killer in the first one.
Yeah.
So you've never seen?
I've never seen any of the.
Okay.
No, I've never seen Friday the 13th. I've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street. Any of them. None of them. No.
Friday the 13th
screams eternally.
And I know I have said this over and over on this show, but it has the 2 greatest kill scenes in the history of cinema.
It's funny because
Jason takes Manhattan when he uppercuts the dude's head off.
In the alleyway.
Yes, and he literally Jason uppercuts him, and the dude's head fucking flies off. Amazing. And then the other one is Jason X. Jason goes to space.
Yes.
And these 2 girls are in a sleeping bag, and he picks up the sleeping bag and he just beats them against the tree.
Shocking.
It is the greatest kill scene ever.
Yes, I said it before. I'll say it again here. That Jason X, Jason in outer space. That's all you have to. That's it.
Beautiful.
That's all you have to know.
Beautiful.
It makes 0 sense at all. Right. That will be a backyard movie without question. Bring whatever you want to help enjoy that experience. That's going to be a movie.
Oh yeah, there's some jazz going on there, baby.
That's going to be some fun. Yeah. So, Nick has not seen any of these movies.
No.
What would you? And I'll throw in Texas Chainsaw. That was a little franchise as well.
I've seen the remake of that.
The newer one, the one last
with
year or so.
Jessica Biel. Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, that was
okay.
90s.
No, they did a new one.
It was 04, 03, something like that.
Okay. All right, well,
the one with Jessica Biel.
You know what? There's an even newer
they may
one.
have made another one. I was going to say, I think they're
within the last year or so. You find it on Netflix, I believe. So it's like a
real good one.
sequel. It's a sequel because Leatherface is older. He's living in this town. Check that out. That's a lot of fun. People come in.
I want to see the prequel where Leatherface is just a little baby Leatherface, and he has like a little toddler's skin face on his. On it. That's what I want to see.
There is a prequel to the original
is there?
story, I believe. Yeah, that shows how he sort of became. I don't know. There's so many of those. The first one of that is one of the best scary movies of all time. The original Texas Chainsaw in the 70s, without question. So, if you're going to recommend it to Nick, Dean, he's not seen any of these like core
Never seen
movies.
Correct.
What's the best one? Is it the first Friday the 13th? Is it the first Nightmare on Elm Street? Is it the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Okay.
First Nightmare on Elm Street. It was before Freddy got quippy.
Oh,
and making
fingered.
jokes.
He was fingered in some
Right.
respects. Yeah,
That's a different horror movie all in itself.
Mhm.
No, Freddy. It was before he became funny.
Mhm.
It was just about the killing. It was the music.
it's about
really.
Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, the Nightmare on My Street.
Nope. That's
That was a song.
it was
That
a
was a
song
song.
incorporated with one of those movies, but because Robert Englund was in the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the first Nightmare on Elm Street is the scariest. Friday the 13th. It's very. The first one is very.
It sets the tone for the series.
It does, but it's very every late 70s, early 80s horror movie.
Yeah.
It became popular because of Jason in the sequels.
Yes.
So yeah, in Halloween, yeah, you could start with that, but it doesn't give the same. The music in Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street makes that movie
awesome. Yeah.
It does what the Jaws music did to Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
The scary anticipation. It really is. It's at a character in its own. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 1.
Yeah, to me, I could argue that one, and it depends on my mood. That one, or again, the original Texas Chainsaw, as far as overall horror and terror, two different things.
That's the two different things. Yeah, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, it was scary. Like it was like intense scary, and you're very on the edge of your seat watching it, but it's not like scary. Like you're not like, oh fuck, you don't have that like frightening aspect to it.
There's moments of there though.
There is, but like Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole goddamn thing almost seems like a fevered fucking dream.
That's a good point, because you know what's coming. You know if they fall asleep, you know he's coming after them. It's a whole thing. Yeah,
and some of the scenes you don't know if they're asleep yet or not, or
right.
Again, I don't want to take anything away from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You definitely should see that too, but it's a different field.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, you make a strong argument for Nightmare. That's a super strong contender of those classic slasher movies to start with. There as the best. Yeah. Okay.
I agree. I do make a good point.
Yeah. Nick, any other ones you want to mention, sir?
The Hills Have Eyes. That's been some good movies as well. Yeah. Very unsettling. Very just like unsettling is the best way I can put it. I can't top that definition. Like it's just very eerie, creepy, just disturbing, unsettling. So The Hills Have Eyes. I would say
remake they did it in early 2000s, man. I agree with you. That's one of the most unsettling movies I ever watched.
I think you could also lump in The Wrong Turn because it's basically the same thing. The Wrong Turn stuff is essentially the Hills Have Eyes franchise. So yeah,
very good. I'll give you one last one. Hannibal Lecter movies. There's obviously a few of those.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I've seen those, the Manhunter one, which sort of introduced the character with a different actor. Obviously, Silence of the Lambs, one of the greatest movies. Period. Is certainly in a horror aspect was great. They had the Hannibal, which I think was a prequel or something weird. I don't know what it was, but that character is super creepy, and
even the TV show was pretty good. They had a TV show on NBC for I think 2 seasons, and it was pretty good.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Red Dragon, that was a good movie. That was like the third one or whatever. That was good.
That was it. Yeah, that was kind of there was a prequel. The Red Dragon was before Silence of the Lambs.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think they did both. They had one called Manhunter, which was like but then they kind of redid that one, Red Dragon, with Anthony Hopkins as the Hannibal, I believe. Anyway, all good stuff here. Other ones you could talk about. There's all kinds of great ones out there. But I think we hit on some good ones. So. Okay. A lot of arguments as far as the creepiest franchise, some of the best horror franchises of all time. One thing that's hard to argue with, though, guys, is where you can get a great tattoo. I know we all agree on this one.
Oh, what a fucking segue.
Boom.
There you
Look, all over.
There you go.
Wearing the tank top just so you can see it.
That's right. It's just for the purpose of this this promotion. Golden Heart Tattoo. If you're in the Northeast Ohio area, go check them out on Facebook at Golden Heart Norton, Norton. Find them online at goldenhearttattoos.com or give them a call at 234-706-2982. Get yourself some work. Now, Nick, you were there recently?
I was. Yes, I was.
Okay. We can't see you now, so
I
you
was
can't
going to
even
say,
show
if the
your
video
work.
was on, you could show us. But...
It's there, yeah.
Okay.
It's there.
And as I mentioned, I'm going in May to get more work done on my sleeve here, more Twilight Zone stuff here. So great work there by all the talented artists there, and they will appreciate your support, and we appreciate their sponsorship. So, guys,
yo,
another scary thing has happened. I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
The end of another episode of the Convincing Idiots podcast.
That is frightening.
It is frightening. So, Nick.
Yeah.
Even though we can hear you, we can't see you.
That's true.
If you're watching us.
I apologize. I'm on low battery.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. We thought Nick was doing some certain things to celebrate
I'm here with
the Leafs victory.
I have an idea. This is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, you're going to do it as you.
Okay.
You know, the outro is you. But they can't see you. So if anybody on YouTube is watching this, I'm going to mouth and play Nick, and you're going to say it. It's going to be like, huh?
Oh, that is creepy. Okay, I like that.
Like an old Godzilla movie.
Okay, I like that.
I like that.
Right, so
a little dubbing, a little old-fashioned dubbing here.
Yeah. So just so you know, I don't know what this is going to mess with you, but I can't see you. You guys are frozen to me, so like I can't see you. But here we go. You ready? Does that make sense?
Yep. Got it.
Good? Okay. So, for this episode of Convincing Idiots, I am your millennial Nick. I'm alongside my friends Gen X Brian and Centennial Team. And I invite you to come and find us on our website, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. You can also find us on all of our social media accounts, in which you can find on our Convincing Idiots Linktree. How do you find that, you might ask? Well, simply go to Google and type in Convincing Idiots. LINKTREE. And there you will find all of the social media accounts in which we can be found. So, for this episode of Convincing Idiots, I'm your millennial Nick.
And I am the Zennial Dean.
Gen X Brian.
And I am Brian. No, okay. Have we convinced you to come back next week and see perhaps all three of us? Yes. Hey there, if you like that video, or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you back here.